Congratulations on making it to the Indiana Robotics State Championship. We are pushing 2,000 teams at all levels across the state, and you are one of the few teams that have earned your way to the biggest stage in the world, not named the World Championship. Now, the purpose of this video today is to reiterate a lot of the information that you've been sent via email, to give tips from experienced students, and to help you feel prepared for the big day. Let's begin. So I'm sure by now you know that the state championship is on Saturday and it's held all day long, but there's a great opportunity Friday night to kind of get ahead of the curve a little bit here. It says optional, but it's encouraged. And so early check-in is optional for teams Friday evening, March 21st, starting at 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. And so you can actually get in there. The doors open at 5:30 to start unloading and setting up your pits and all of that stuff. But then at 6 o'clock, you can check your team in, do inspection, and even complete at least one skills run. It's a great opportunity for you to kind of get oriented with the place, show your kids around, show them where their pits are, show them how to get to the teamwork matches, show them where the skills fields are, and just to get everything kind of orderly and ready for the next day. Because the next day, Saturday, is a big day. It's a very busy day, but I would definitely take advantage of this opportunity. The doors will close promptly at 8 p.m. Please don't stick around because they will kick you out, but you need to be exiting the fairgrounds right around 8 p.m.
So I would really recommend taking advantage of the Friday night that you are given before the state competition on Saturday. I would get there as early as you can when the doors open for teams to come. And the very first thing I would do is get your robot out and run to inspection. Get that done as quick as possible. The line is going to be long, so the easier and the quicker you can get that done, the better you're going to be. And as I said earlier, if you have already gone through that checklist on your own, you are absolutely certain that you're going to get through inspection with no difficulties, and that should be really easy. And then right after inspection, I would just make sure your pits are all cleaned up and nice and ready for Saturday. And I would also take advantage of the fact that skills are open on Friday. So
this is a big deal. The last thing you want is to go through inspection Friday evening or Saturday morning and not pass and have that stress looming over you for the rest of the evening or the rest of the morning. And so inspection is going to take place in the Coliseum in your corresponding division, and teams should complete all portions of the inspection sheet other than the measurements prior to going up on the stage. Now, a huge tip that I would highly recommend is going through that inspection checklist that's on this screen right now before you get to the state championship. Go through every single box, check every single thing, double check, triple check everything. And it's not fun. I promise you, it is not fun to fail inspection. It's happened to my teams many times in the past. It's a very unsettling feeling, and to no one's fault other than our own for not being fully prepared. So make sure you're going through that prior to coming to the state championship. Once you get to the state championship, you need to go through that checklist and check everything that you have done, except for the measurements. They'll do that up on the stage. And you also need to include your student signature, your coach signatures, all of that stuff. Students are the ones going through inspection. They need to be present in order for the robot to be inspected, not the coaches. Your students should bring their robot, obviously, a battery, a controller, and the filled out inspection form. The inspectors will then go through the size measurements. They'll sign off and everything will be good to go. But again, please go through the inspection checklist prior to getting to state, because you don't want to fail because you weren't prepared.
One thing you need to make sure that you check a lot of times before state is if your robot is in the correct dimensions. This year, the size limit is really big, which allows you to have a big robot, and most likely your robot won't be out of size. But if you change one thing and your catapult was a little too high, then your whole night can just turn into a crazy, stressful, chaotic mess, and then you're stuck late and you're trying to fix it. So just make sure that your robot is ready to go and everything is where it should.
Something that I do want to draw your attention to, probably the most important part about all of this, that's going to help answer all of your questions is going to the techpointyouth.org website. Now, obviously, this link right here is what gets you to all the videos that we've been creating this season. This is about robot grants. We'll be opening up soon. And then obviously the state championship 2025. Click on that, gives you all the information you need. But if you scroll down a little bit, this tab right here, 2025 digital program, click on that. And this has all the links that you will need to understand anything and everything about the state championship. So, like your divisions, if you're in VEX IQ, middle school, elementary, the VRC middle school and high school, if you want the links for streaming the state championship to send to your grandma and grandpa who are living in California, you can click this and send them the links there. Really important buttons here, the maps and the agenda, and we're going to dive into those right now. Right here is one of the most important ones. It shows the 3 different buildings that we will be in throughout the event. Obviously, the Coliseum here is the main one, right? That's where all the teamwork matches are going to be taking place for V5 and IQ. It's also where the opening ceremonies are, the finals, the awards, all of that will be here. It's where the spectators will be. If you go down here to the Pop Weaver Youth Pavilion, this is where V5 inspection is going to be, where the pits are going to be, where the skills are going to be, judging, all for the middle school and high school V5 teams. And then over here, the Ball State University Champions Pavilion, that is the building that all the IQ stuff will be taking place in. So IQ inspection, IQ pits, IQ skills and judging. And so all of that will take place here, and you just simply walk across here to the Coliseum to go to your matches. If you scroll down, here's another view of that same map, the 3 different buildings, the Coliseum. This is where the V5 teams are, where the VEX IQ teams are going to be. And again, these are all pits. Your judging area is up here on the southern side of this building. Skills fields are going to be right here. And then, of course, walking over to the Coliseum right here. Here's your IQ elementary, IQ middle school, V5 high school, V5 middle school. And so that's helpful for me, at least, to look at that type of bird's eye view here. Scrolling down is more of a zoom in of those pits. So it's this area right here. Zoomed in. It has all the different team numbers on there. So spend some time looking for your team, because it's really helpful to let your parents know exactly where their pits or their child's pits are going to be, and allows you that Friday evening to help set up your pits and know exactly your location. There are some practice fields there as well, but of course, VEX IQ fields for skills, like I was mentioning earlier. Scrolling down, it's the V5 pits right here. Same type of thing. There's the skills fields, practice fields, team check-in, and look for your team number right here. And of course, the judging stations are down below. We'll talk about the judging stations right now. The map here, we're at the team load-in. So Friday evening, or if you're coming here Saturday morning, again, highly, highly recommend to come Friday evening. But to load in, you're going to come up this Fall Creek Parkway Drive and turn into G6, entrance G6. And come over here, follow these arrows. If you are V5, if you're a middle school, high school V5 team, follow these arrows and you'll load in right here by the Pop Weaver Youth Pavilion building. If you are IQ, you're going to just keep following these arrows straight. You'll stop right here for the Ball State Champions Pavilion, load in, exit, of course, out this way. As you exit, you can then find some parking. It is $10 to park this time. Again, entrance to the parking is G6 over here on Fall Creek Parkway, or you can enter at G1 over here on 38th Street and just follow the blue lines all the way over to the giant parking area here that costs $10. Please carpool. It will help save money. It'll help save spaces. Let your parents and family members and coaches and everybody else know that it is a $10 parking fee at this event. So if we go back to the digital program main page here, we just left the maps, go back to agenda. This is obviously something that you should share with parents and family members and grandparents and anybody and everybody who is interested in watching. Also share it with your students, because there's a lot of pertinent information about times of when things will be starting and ending and things like that. So again, here we're just looking at the elementary school agenda. This is the Friday evening agenda there, which we've already talked about. Moving on into Saturday, doors open at 7:30 a.m. at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Skills fields are open at 8 a.m., but I'm going to tell you right now, it gets pretty busy right away. So if the skills fields are open and you feel like there's no line and you want to knock stuff out, go ahead and do that. Judge interviews are also open at 8 a.m., but keep in mind that there is an IQ drivers meeting at 8:45, and that's important for everybody to attend, specifically your drivers, but I tend to have all my students attend that drivers meeting as well. Obviously, 9 a.m. is when people can start entering from the general public, and then you need to be inspected and checked in by 9:30. By the way, if you did all of that Friday evening, you still need to check in Saturday morning just so they know that you have returned the next morning. So make sure you do that or they'll come hunt you down. Don't make them come hunt you down. 9:30 to 10 o'clock is a 30-minute opening ceremony. TechPoint Foundation for Youth does a fantastic job of making it a great opening ceremony, the best in the nation, other than the World Championship, which is pretty phenomenal. But this is a great opening ceremony that you should attend. Please, please, please don't stay in your pits. Don't sit in your pits and look for your next alliance because you don't even know your next alliance yet. They haven't released the match schedule yet. So everybody go to the stands, watch the opening ceremonies and participate. And then after that is over, 10:15 is when the matches begin. You will receive your match list pretty much when the opening ceremonies close and when they're over. So you'll have just a little bit of time in that first little 15-minute window there to find your first alliance, go talk with them and get a strategy and hopefully get in line for queuing. Of course, that'll take us all the way up to lunch, and we will pause the matches. The skills fields, the practice fields, and the judging is still open during this time. And if you see right here, matches will resume at 1 a.m. or sorry, 1 p.m. Hopefully not 1 a.m. But then also right here, 1 p.m. for IQ Elementary, the judge interviews close. So you need to make sure you prioritize that. If that is something that you want to do, if you want to be judged, if you want to be up for a judged award and possibly go to the World Championship, you need to make sure that your interviews are done by 1 p.m. Of course, qualification matches end at this time, and all those times are subject to change just a little bit depending on how the flow of the tournament goes. The middle school agenda is very, very similar, with the exception of the lunch times. And then, of course, the judge interviews close a little bit later for middle school at 2 p.m. So make sure that you are watching that time and prioritizing that as well. Again, try to knock stuff out early in the morning so that you have the rest of the day to really focus on the tournament. There's the middle school V5 agenda as well that you can take a look at, the high school V5 agenda as well if you need that. But the agenda here, really, really important. Send it out to all the people who are going to be competing and attending and spectating.
During and between matches, I would make sure that all your connection points are connected to where they are supposed to be, and I would make sure all the shafts are where they're supposed to be. Have your pit crew just go through and give the robot a full inspection, making sure it's ready to compete for the next match.
At state and really any competition that you're at, it is really important that you have good strategies with your alliances. Especially in a game like this year's where the whole name of the game is passing in collaboration with your teams that you're aligned with. So I would recommend having a scout team, having someone that you can rely on to go and find your alliances early on so that you're not scrambling right before a match like, oh no, where's our alliances? How are we going to strategize with them? And another thing I would recommend is making sure that you have, if you have time, go to the practice fields or go to a field that you brought to state and just make sure that if a strategy that you have, try it out. If it doesn't work, fix it. And that's all the name of the game, because if you aren't passing, at the end of the day, you're not going to be getting good scores. So it's all about that collaboration, and just make sure you are having good conversations about
pits. We've already talked about the location of them, but just as a quick refresher, the Ball State Champions Pavilion will have all the IQ teams, and the Pop Weaver Youth Pavilion will have all the V5 teams there. Each team will have one pit that is 8 feet wide and 7 feet deep, and will include a table and 2 chairs if that's what you requested when you registered for the state championship. Obviously, from pit to pit to pit will be stanchioned off, so you'll be separated from each team, and you'll be sharing probably with 6 to 8 other teams a quad box for power. So bring surge protectors, bring power strips, bring extension cords for all your power needs. Organizations that bring multiple teams will actually be numerically ordered and all right next to each other, and the lower stanchions will be removed, which is really nice because then you'll have an entire giant area there for all of your teams to be together. Just as a quick note for that, you cannot have your fields, if you happen to bring your practice fields into your pits, you cannot have them extending out beyond your pits. But the nice thing about having multiple teams is you should now have room. So, for example, we're bringing two teams, and so each pit is 8 feet by 7 feet. Now it'll be 16 feet by 7 feet deep. Plenty of room for a field to fit in there without extending out, and still enough room for all of our kids to be inside the pits. If you're just one team and you're bringing your field, if you know the IQ fields are 6 feet by 8 feet and your pits are 7 feet by 8 feet, that's not much room at all. I would highly recommend not bringing your field then and going to the practice fields. Something else that's not prohibited, that is not permitted, but is prohibited on being there are helium balloons. Please don't decorate with helium balloons, and you are not allowed to bring drones.
Even though pits at state are larger than pits at normal competitions, it can still get cluttered, and over an entire day at state, it can tend to feel like everything's caving in. So you want to make sure that your pit is clean so that you are able to find stuff and be ready for your matches.
Skills, skills, skills. I cannot stress enough the importance of attempting all of your skills attempts. You have 3 driving, 3 programming. Your best score of each gets combined, and that will be your combined state skills score. It's a first come, first served basis. A lot of times there's a long line, but our volunteers are incredible. They do a great job of pushing everybody through. We have a ton of fields for you to attempt your skills runs. So please, please, please do that. What ends up happening is if we have a double qualification for the world championship, they'll go to the skills rankings from the state championship, not from the regular season. Those are now out the window. It's from the state championship. So, for example, if a team ends up winning the design award, which is a world spot, and they're in the top 10 for elementary teamwork in the finals, then that's a world spot. That team just earned 2 world spots. It's a double qualification. Well, they can't send their team twice. So what they'll do is they'll then go to the skills rankings and they'll take the next highest unqualified team to attend the world championship.
Skills is also really important to make sure that you get all of your skills matches done. But the line is often really long, so you need to make sure that you have someone checking often to see if there's a super long line, or if you have time, you can wait in line, or if there's a short time, you can take advantage.
If you head back to the techpointyouth.org digital program page here and click on any one of these IQ elementary, middle school V5, or high school V5 links, it'll talk about the different awards that are going to be handed out here at the state championship. It is a competition after all, and we do want to try to win an award. And many of those awards are worlds qualifying. So this is the elementary one. I'm not going to go through every single one. You're welcome to do that. But for elementary IQ, it lists all the possible awards here and the description of what those awards are, many of which, especially these judged awards here, you need to submit a notebook for some of them and also do an interview at the judge stations. So it's talking here about the number of awards that are being awarded for that specific one, and then if it is a world qualifying award or not. So for example, this Inspire Award or this Energy Award or this Sportsmanship Award, those are not world qualifiers. Still a great honor to be awarded for that at the state championship. That's a big, big deal. But keep in mind that those are not world spots. All of these down here would be, and that's important for your students to know and even spectators to know as well what's at stake here.
Interview tips that I would give is to be very concise in what you're saying, because you only have 7 minutes to be able to get all that information in, and being able to, sort of like what I said earlier, being able to plan that out and just packing a lot of information in that 7 minutes would be a lot better than just stuttering and saying and just being able to be smooth through the interview.
Interviews are really important for your time at state. So you need to find time for going to your interview, because the interviewers will not come to you. You have to go to them. So you need to be able to find time within matches to go to your interview, and you need to be ready to use the time that they give you and answer all the questions fully.
And most importantly, guys, let's just have fun. Right? This is the state championship. I get it. There's a lot at stake. There's teams that are going to go to the world championship. There's big trophies that are being handed out. And yes, it's a competition, and we want to do our best and maybe even win some trophies and go to the world championship. But most importantly, let's just have fun, right? Kids, especially, learn something new. Have fun. Be kind to each other. Just have a blast. Coaches, same thing. Let's have a blast. Let's make sure that we remember that this is all about the kids. And if you have any issues, be respectful about those issues. Keep in mind that there are a lot of volunteers who are maybe new to this or haven't had a ton of experience with this. So be kind to the volunteers. Thank the volunteers. Thank the staff of TechPoint Foundation for Youth for putting on just literally the greatest state championship in all of America. Make sure you thank them. If you see them throughout the day, give them some props because I know they've been planning this for months and months and months. Let's have a great day and good luck at the Indiana State Robotics Championship.